Trying to get a good camera angle here. I gotta do my brakes. Got a bad caliper on this side. It's been hanging up, smoking the rotor. Absolutely smoking it. Simple investments to make life a little bit easier. Number one was buying a big jack. It took me a while to save up and get the jack that I wanted, but finally got it. Another simple investment. Another simple investment. That guy right there. Love it. Love having quick, easy way to get a wheel off of a car. That definitely helps things when you're trying to get stuff done quickly as possible. Now, this is a thin wall impact 1/2-inch drive. Get them at Harbor Freight. Everything came from Harbor Freight. So, I don't know. People talk bad about Harbor Freight. Me personally, I really like old H Freight. For what it is, for the money you spend, and the capability that you get from these tools. I'll just put it right down there. You gotta go back. Gotta go back so the socket comes off. Comes out. That's the heat. I had a wheelbarrow. See, that way I can just pull them out. Stop spinning. See, they get stuck in there. These lug nuts, these are very tight tolerance. That's why you can't use a normal size socket on it. Anything good? Anybody having any fun out there in the sun? Beautiful weather. Finally, we're getting our spring weather. All right, so we're done with that guy for a minute. put our lug nuts right there so we don't lose them. And put our wheel there. Now, here's another thing I got. Good old H-freight. Sorry, I'm showing you guys everything. There's no cuts. There's no cuts. There's no camera tricks. There's no fancy editing. There. See if we can stick that. So where do I usually put this? Because this is all plastic up in here. It's a magnetic light. I think I usually put it there. Put my keys away. This rotor, she's even pretty tight now. What's happening is the piston in there gets a little bit cocked sideways, and it doesn't allow for the brake to release where it has to release. So then you get brake bind, or you get hung caliper. All right, so that fits that. And this here, that fits that. I'm going to take all this stuff off. Anybody having any fun today? Because most of my stuff is not very fun. As I showed you guys in the last video, I had to get that caliper and bracket set because these sliders are bad. This one's okay. This one don't move at all. Basically, those sliders, when the piston in the back pushes against, it allows that whole thing to float. Well, when you get a piston in there that's cocked sideways, that wears out, it stays pressurized. Now, this is how I like to loosen tight bolts. Even this is a Harbor Freight special. Torx. It's a Torx Titan. It's a Titan. Sorry. I just like to give her a little tappage. Because if you're pushing against that, my theory is if you're pushing against that bolt, just steady pressure, it's not going to knock it loose, because the threads, if you get them properly tightened up, what happens is the threads expand a little as they wind onto each other. They expand. That's basically what torquing a nut or a bolt is all about, is expanding those threads out just enough, because the threads are the thinner part of the metal. See, this is a brand new bracket with brand new sliders, but she was smoking last night going down the road and overheated quite a bit. So I got to check the sliders, make sure that I lube them up, and get the part. So this is the part that's going on there. See, these are the pistons. They push out this way. You see, when the caliper's on the car, your rotor's here. These pistons are pushing this way. The entire body needs to slide that way, and those sliders that hook here, they allow for that movement to go in and out. I need these when you're doing a caliper. You need those. You need those copper washers. Those are the most important thing to have. Make sure you have that in your kit. Now, I'm going a little slow. I would have had it off by now, but I'm talking to the camera. I know it's not real fun, but this is the life of the Door Dasher. If you're going to do any of those things, type of things to make money or make a living, those hustles are still good for independent artist type people because we need to have a pretty free schedule. You see how bound up this is? It's the lower piston. It's just absolutely crushing those brakes. It's just holding them right on the rotor, and as you're going down the highway, that rotor heats up and then starts to warp. You just got to be careful pulling it all off. Yeah, and you see how ugly that looks. I can even smell it. It's burnt metal. So the trick is we got to get this out. We got to take that line off. But first thing I want to do, before I get into all that, I'm going to get this to sit there. My sliders actually are good still. I might just leave them. And you can check a slider. You just pull the little slider out. Pull on them. And you see there's a little bit of lube on there. There's enough lube on there for me to be happy with that. I can give it a little bit more dope. I don't think I'm going to worry about it right now. I'll push these in. You got to make sure that seal goes back in. So these sliders, because they're brand new, they work great. They still work good. I'll show you here. Get this thing off of there. Okay. This is what I mean, the sliders moving in and out. They got to be able to move freely, not be hung up. This is what your brake caliper mounts to, is these little things. So that be that. This dang camera. But if you're doing the DoorDash and the side hustle lifestyle, you guys are going to have to do these things, or you're going to have to pay somebody else all the time. None of that's fun. It's never fun. What do I have? I got to find a... Yep, there's a bottle of brake fluid. So I got a bottle of brake fluid. So I can dump the fluid in the... Just let the fluid dump out in the old crap bin here. Hopefully, I can get that loose without too much struggling. This is where these little impacts, again, that's a Harbor Freight special. These little impacts are really nice. We're gonna push her back on just for now, just to hold her there. See, it's not even opening up for me to be able to get that loose. So now I gotta fight with that. That's gonna take some back and forth. If I can't find the right size socket here for that. There's a half-inch. I got a bunch of these half-inch line drives. And I got a bunch of other things in that box. Sorry if I'm humming while I work. I've got music in my ears. Boy, that thing is just smoked. I can smell it. That thing overheated so bad last night. Driving down the road, the whole wheel was shaking like that. I said, I know what that is. Well, because when I changed this, it was cold. It was cold day when I did my brakes. And I was in a hurry to get her done. Didn't want to be in the shop all day that day. And me, personally, I'm not good at bleeding brakes, so of course I had to call a friend, my brother. Let me get my other box. Had to ask my older brother for help. Just go through the process of bleeding brakes. That was a good conversation. Very helpful to hear it. To hear, there are some things that he told me that either I didn't know exactly why we do the things we do, or things that I might forget while I'm working on it. So it's always good to call somebody if you need to. Let's see if we can get better light on here. We're going to go to try. I don't know if this little impact's going to do it or not. Oh, she got her. All right, well, now this brake line is pretty stiff, so you don't want to drip all over your rotor, because then that's going to be just another mess you're going to have to clean up later. Get that guy out. This is your brake line bolt. It's got a little hole in it, so that the fluid flows through. Let's see if we can't pull our line off here. The problem with old brake lines, dump all the fluid out. Dumpy dump into the pan. So if you're going to make money doing DoorDash and that type of stuff, you're going to need to do these kind of things. Now, see, and that piston does not go in still. This one pushes in a little bit. Yeah, there it goes. That one's pushing in with the release of fluid on the back. So, ditch that over there. Try to keep this guy up. Let's see if I can't get this copper ring off there. This is the copper ring that's the seal. It's only good for one use. You want to try to get those off, but without damaging your line. And there goes that one. She's off. I save those. You never know when you're going to need them for something. The other one, I just want to make sure. Yep, the other one's here on the caliper. See it? Copper. copper's worth a lot of money now, guys. Save your pennies. So our only dilemma here, I gotta leave it hanging out because I don't want it touching stuff and getting all dirty. Now, this might fail. I might be here all day trying to get this pressurized. Might be here the rest of the day trying to get brake pedal back. Trying not to get it on my rotor or my brake pads. Cleaner as much as possible. You don't want anything getting in there. That's the trick to doing brakes. Be as clean as possible. Check inside our bore there and see if there's any crap or junk in there. I don't see any. So we're ready. We're already ready. See, the problem is we got all this dirt everywhere. Trying not to touch too many things. Every time you touch something, dirt falls off. If I were smart, I would have washed this on the way here before doing this, but water in a brake line is really bad. Really don't want to be getting water in a brake in your fluid. This is a brand new clean rag. Trying to find a place to shove this and trying to keep it from here. We'll just set her there. Get her hands clean. Get the new one out. I'm going to check my pads while I'm here because these are brand new pads, but because it superheated going down the road, I could have actually messed the pads up. They don't look too, that one don't look too bad. That's your brake pad. That's what stops your vehicle. Looks pretty clean. Still looks pretty good for a overheated pad. That'll do. Well, and the smart thing to do here too, guys, is get the pads with a lifetime. This here, there's a groove in here. Let's see if I can get it in the camera. You see that groove? That groove will fill up with brake dust and it'll get really hard and that'll cause your brakes to make a lot of noise, maybe hang up. I want to get that out of there. There are some things that there's a little crack in it. So I should be getting new pads for this soon again. But you get the lifetime warranty pads. You see all this stuff here? That's all brake dust. See how it just flakes off of there? I want to get that junk out of there without hurting the brake pad too much. Trying to hold this. Hold her still. I do my brakes probably every month or two. I'm swapping pads out at least. Doing the DoorDash and the Uber Eats driving. It wears and tears on a car pretty bad. Like I said the other night, my real wheel bearing that we replaced last year, a year ago, completely exploded on me, just going down the road. And pretty much brand new part. I mean, new part. It shouldn't, a wheel bearing should not go that bad that quick. But with all the use and abuse that I'm putting these cars through, so you got the groove cleaned out now. With all the punishment that I'm putting this car through, I don't like that crack in the pad, but I don't have a choice at this point. I don't have another pad to throw on there, I don't think. The only thing about lifetime warranties, you got to turn in your old pads. So you don't get to keep even a half good pad as a spare if you need it. But there are deals where you can get free pads, and that moves a lot more free. You can get free pads, and they're cheap ones, but if you can get a pair of cheap free pads, that's a really good deal. Just to have them around as extras. So I gotta remove the gloves for this one. Go in and clean our screw, because this is critical. See, this has a hole in the end of it. The fluid feeds in there, and then it comes out those little holes in the side. I'm going to keep that clean as possible. Not let too much junk get in there. Hardest part of doing this, I think, besides the bleeding part when you're by yourself, is keeping everything clean. Well, and here, they actually gave me the new bolt. So I got a new connector bolt, which I was hoping was in here. I just don't look. Alright, so these three things have to go in there. But it's all got to go in there with the line on there. Where my socket went. Make sure that we got the right fit. Alright. Now I might hand tighten this back in the end. How do we do this? What's the easiest way? Maybe if I just put the caliper on there. So like I say, I'm not an expert at this at all. I've done them before. I've done lots of them. But you forgot. Put that sucker on there. And I'll probably just finger tight it in. I wish you guys could hear the music I'm listening to. It's really good music. So the trick is, I'm only doing this so that I can I don't need both. I'm only doing this so that I can put the line in how it has to go. So that's open now. I got to be super, super careful. Now that I have that in place, see, I do this so that I can get the line, the brake line, lined up without twisting or hockling it. And then you can pull that whole caliper off again. And you might have to do the flipping around here so you can see what the heck you're doing, because the line has to actually pinch down in. I don't know if I'm gonna need I might need the press for this, or what I call the press. It's just a wood clamp, because it's not going on. The easiest thing to do is just press it on. That's your number one tool. I need another rag. Oh, what are you guys up to today? Anybody having a good time out there in the spring weather? So we got to get the clamp ready. It's a one-shot deal, pretty much. Hold her on there. Try to keep it away from our rotor again. I just got to push it in so it locks in there. And that's the difficulty right now. This is the worst. This is the worst part of the whole operation right here. Because you're trying not to bend and push that brake line around too much. And the brake line is dirty as heck. And you're trying not to get anything in the inside of it. And you got fluid coming out. Let's see here. See if I can get all the junk off it. That's the most important thing. Keep those little rings clean. Washers. Get all the crap off of here. It might just pop right in all on its own if I do. Is it clean? Got to be super clean when you do. You really don't want any debris getting in your inside of your piston, because it'll just blow it apart pretty quick. It'll get in your brake system and it'll make a mess. So, like I said, I'm not an expert at this. Somebody's got a better way. Definitely chime in and say, hey, you're doing it all wrong. This is how I know to do it. It's how I've done it in the past. It's just getting the line on the caliper there's this space right here. I got to get it in there. And keeps getting dirt and junk from the line because the line has a little bit of corrosion on it. Let's get dirt and junk all in there. Making things a little difficult. This is the hardest part. This would be the hardest part of this entire job. So, maybe we're going to do this. What are you guys up to today? Anything fun? There's just junk everywhere on here. Try not to get it in the internal parts of the system. One thing you don't want. So the one trick you can use, put that sucker in. We're going to try it. And because this ratchet that I have has this extension thing, see, this is so I can use a normal socket in there. That's loosened. That's tightened. That's tight. Right. That would be tightened. Maybe that's why they call it the Titan. Because you loosen it and you tighten it. Let's see if I got any brake crap on there. Now we're going to try squeezing that sucker in there. And get them all lined up. Put this guy on there. Put this guy in there. Put that guy there. I'm trying to do the cleanest, simplest. The problem is these brake lines are so stiff. You're fighting them to get them in position. Hopefully this will squeeze that in without bending or binding it too much. Notice I covered my rotor because I need to work up here now. So I got what you want to go in real careful, real gentle. I don't know if I can get the camera in there. It might annoy the crap out of me and be too much of a headache. Let's see if we can get the camera right in there, huh? How's that for you guys? How would if we did that? And you're seeing things in reverse because we're on Stuffy. Trying to see if this clamp will hold, which it's not. This might be more of a pain than I'm willing to deal with right now because it keeps moving. All right, so there is our piece. All right, so we got to get this bolt. See, the line is so stiff. This bolt has to push in. Wish I could GoPro this, but I can't GoPro in live. Oh, hey, how about that? Maybe. maybe we can show you here. All right, this is our piece. That's got to go in. So this part has to squeeze into that notch that they give you there, but it doesn't, it's really tight, it doesn't want to go in. So I want to do this without bending or pinching the brake line. So the only thing I can think of to do it safely and slowly is this. I'm gonna try the old rattle tool, if it'll fit in there. These are very lightweight impacts. It's going in. There she goes. Very slowly. Because the brake line is pretty old and corroded a little bit. It's still a good brake line if I don't rupture it, so they get corrosion on them and they swell up, and then they don't want to go in that notch. Dang it. Got all my stuff in oil now. So the hardest part, I think, is done. It looks like it's all lined up. Hopefully. Really got to reef on these to get those copper bushings flat. This keeps popping out. This is the only thing about these dang things that I don't like. It's not like a normal socket ratchet. Ugh. Boy, that sucker's on there. Kind of need to hold it. You see, that had to squeeze down in there, and it was really tight before. You got to get a lot of torque on these. I might have to bolt it in. Yeah, I'm going to have to bolt it in and retorque it. So we hook the caliper up. Make sure everything's good. Does it look good? Everything's in line. It doesn't look like we're not all over the place. It's not leaking fluid anymore, so that's good. And I did get a little bit of brake fluid on my rotor, but they have old Easy Clean for that. We'll just have to blast it good with the brake cleaner before we do too much moving around. So, see, you just got to be gentle with it, and you got to kind of cajole it into place where it wants to be. Like I said, guys, I'm not an expert at this. Hopefully I didn't mess anything up. Thing I've learned about doing brakes is you just got to really be gentle and deliberate. Everything you do has to be very deliberate. So we'll put a new caliper on the car and hopefully we'll get brake pressure back. And we'll be able to go drive. Hopefully. So I did not need to take the bracket off, which is good. I did not need to disassemble too much to get it all lined up and pretty. It'd be nice if you just put it on there and it pressurized itself once you tighten that. But we all know that's not how it works. I'm going to pop this out because that socket this way. That way. See now in what this is, you can see it here. This is what the sliders do. They allow this to move inside of the bracket. Is that squeezes. Basically it squeezes on the brake pad. Hopefully I'm not messing something up. And when I'm tapping on it here, being very careful to feel where I'm good. And that's all by feel. I've done enough brakes where I can feel it. That's something I've always, see how that works, nice and smooth now. That's something I've always been pretty good at. Pretty good with that. Loosening and tightening bolts has always been something I've been really good at. I was a bicycle mechanic at the age of 14. That was my first job. You gotta kind of like doing mechanics. I like doing mechanics because you own it, it's yours, and when you fix something, you know what's in there. You're not dependent on trusting someone else's work. I do trust other guys sometimes to do work on my cars, but and I might be doing the wrong thing here, but those are good and tight. I'm not going to keep messing with it. And I will see if I can get the mirror on that. Because I want to make sure that I didn't rupture the brake line. I got a mirror here somewhere, an exam, so you can see in the back of a motor or whatever you got to see. Got a bunch of them here somewhere. I always lose them. I'm really good at losing stuff. I've lost so many good important tools in my lifetime. I have no idea where they disappeared to. I don't know if I can find one. Might have to use the phone as my mirror. I don't know. I don't see it. I usually have it in one of these 3 boxes so I know where the heck it is when I need it. Where did I put? It might be in this box bag. All my saws have fallen. Come on out. Come on out to play. See if it's in here. I don't think it is. No, all that mess for nothing. Got nothing but a hammer. I really want to check that line. Because when I'm bleeding, I want to be able to see that line and make sure that it's not. That it's not letting things happen that should be happening. I don't see it. You ever have that, guys, where you have a specific tool and you have a specific place that you put that tool? Well, and then when you need the dang thing, you can't find, you don't know where you put it. We're going to have to do the old switch the phone here. So I just want to look at my brake line. It looks pretty good. Don't drop the phone in your oil pan of oil. I don't know why that's blurry. These dang phones. The dang focus on the phone. Well, I can move that out of the way so I don't drop the phone in it. That would help, wouldn't it? Yeah, it looks pretty good to me. You guys see it in there? It looks good. Why is it blurry? So you can't try that. See if it'll. I doubt it will. No, it's still blurry. I don't understand why these dang phones. How do you're supposed to be able to focus. See, this is the dumbest thing ever. I don't know. Selfie doesn't work right. It's all blurry. I mean, it looks okay to me. I wish I had a so I could actually see up close. Just trying to make sure I got the line in right and didn't break it or pinch it. That's all I wanted to do. Now, so we need that phone out. We do need that. All right, so we'll tighten that down because that's dead loose. Looking at the cover. Now I need to get a wrench that fits this guy really tight because you do not want to strip that. You're going to be going back and forth. It seems like I never have the wrenches that I need. And I always have the ones that I don't need. No, that don't do it either. What a pain. Do they make, can you just make a wrench that fits everything? See, that don't fit. That don't fit. I have a whole other wrench set out in the truck that I should get. Looking at the cover. Nope. What else we got? What other options do we have here? No. Be right back, I guess. Hopefully that wrench not work. Oh, and more fun. The old battery in the old truck is stone dead. Parasitic leech or something. That truck sat all winter. Wrench set. This dang thing. It don't fit. Come on. The hard thing is finding the right size wrench. Like I said, you don't want one that's too big. Well, that's a lot of slop on there, but yeah, that's no good. So it's definitely a metric. I don't know. got to get a small enough metric socket for that, which I don't know if I have. That's probably not going to work, but we'll put it on there and see if it fits. No, it don't fit. Of course it don't fit. They never do. See, there's a ratchet. There's another ratchet. Is it a 10 or a 9? I'm guessing it's a 9. I don't think I have a 9. There's a little guy. Found it. Now, I just need to find a socket that fits it. This one's for the bigger. That's not gonna work. Is it gonna work? Gotta get that 9 on there. That's deep well. Deep well 9 would be. That almost works. What are these? Yeah, that's 3/8. That don't fit tight. That says 11 millimeter, which makes no sense to me at all. Because if 11 millimeter almost fits it, a 10 should, but I just put a 10 millimeter on there. That's a 3/8, and that's not gonna work. I had a bunch of 10s somewhere. I don't know. I have no idea where I put anything anymore. Now you guys get to see me fiddle fart around here for the next half an hour trying to find the right socket. It's hard to keep them all organized. That's impossible. Nothing's impossible, Mark. Well, it's impossible for me to keep my sockets nice and organized. With the life I live and the way things are always going around here. Just throw them in a box at the end of the day. What's this guy? What's this one? Nope. That's too small. I feel like Goldilocks in Three Bears House. That one's too big. No, that one's too small. That almost fits. See, we're getting down to that almost fits, that doesn't fit, that almost fits, that doesn't fit. See, there's a 10. But this 10, it's a cheap wrench and it's all stretched out. So I'm guessing that's our issue. That. And I'm supposed to have a full set here. Aha! Disco. 10 millimeter. 10 mil. And that calls for a big ratchet. So after all that, so this is going to go that way, and it's going to go that way. Now, I got to go in the cab of the car and push. I got to find a board or 2x4 or something. I would like to have an open-ended box wrench so that I can see the fluid come out. But I don't think we're going to luck out and find our 10 millimeter. It's the one that I'm missing. It's the one that I can't find, as usual. As usual. Always is the case. Always is the case. You're always going to... I go into my box here where all my 10 millimeters would be. And we have all closed in. So it's going to be messy. It's going to be a little messy doing this. This is how you don't make money at DoorDash, but you do. In the end. Sometime, eventually, at some point, you might just make a little money at it. Stupid power locks on this car. Everything is power locks. It automatically locks itself. One thing and the door's locked and the other. Alright. Well, let's get our brake cleaner on here. Brake clean. That'll dry that oil out nicely. Let that sit. I gotta open up the hood. I gotta get to the brake reservoir. See. So we don't need the light and we don't need the camera down in there anymore because you kind of know what I'm doing here. Pressure and brakes. That's all we're doing. Pressurizing the brakes so that I get brake pedal back. Trying to fight with that. I know this probably isn't interesting to a lot of you, but it's what I do. This is a lot of my day here. This is why I don't get a lot of carving done. Only DOT3. Hopefully. Only DOT3. Please. Are you kidding me? That says DOT4. Well, we might be at a standstill here. All right. Maybe I'm going to have to shut the live off because I need to sit on the phone. I don't see a brake fluid container of DOT3. I need DOT3. I don't want to put 4 in there and mess something up. I don't see any DOT3 anywhere. I could have a jug of it hiding somewhere back in here in one of these boxes somewhere. I don't know why I would have 4 and not 3. All right, we'll be back later. What is this doing?